Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're going to be playing the new Power Shift Seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which every unit in our starting deck gets its power set to its provision cost. That means some units with some really powerful effects that normally have low base power are suddenly far more powerful than usual. Today we're going to be playing a deck using a faction that would normally be difficult to use in this event, but I think I have just the setup to make it work. So let's go take a look. So today we'll be playing a Patricidal Fury Skellige deck that focuses on dealing tons of damage. Now normally when you're building a deck in this event, you'd want to put in as many cards with low base power but high provisions, because those are the cards that improve the most in this event. With that being said, Skellige would normally be a tough faction to play because it usually has some of the higher base power units. But don't worry Skellige players, because if you look hard enough, there are definitely still some strong cards to use. Our key cards are going to be Dagur Two Blades, which will get boosted every time we deal damage to our opponent, and because we're going to be a high damage deck, we'll be able to put up a ton of points with him. And he's one example of a card that'll get a big base power increase in this event, going up from 4 power usually to 10 power in this case. And usually having 4 base power makes Dagur fairly easy for our opponents to get rid of, at least until we start doing all that boosting, but with 10 power, he's much harder for them to remove, unless they commit something like a Geralt. So then we'll have lots of little ways to ping our opponent for small amounts of damage, but our biggest source of damage will be Wild Boar of the Sea, which will damage every unit, but because there should already be a lot of damage units out there when we play this, it should be hitting almost everyone twice, giving us boatloads of damage. Another great source of damage will be Yennefer Conjuror, who will deal damage to all of the highest enemy units, so if we can, we'd like to set up our opponents so that they have several units tied with the same amount of power to make Yennefer even more powerful. Then if we don't have enough damage to outright remove any of our opponent's biggest cards, then we can use Geralt of Rivia, and because so many cards have their base power significantly increased, he should have many more targets to take out. And similarly, Junod, as long as we at least get one of those big units damaged, then we can use him to remove it. So that's the general idea, but now I'll flip through the deck to show you what else we have. And Sunset Wanderers is a perfect example of a card that gets a humongous boost in this event, going from 1 base power to 13. And of course, the longer it stays in our hand, the stronger it will become. So this is either one of our keys to success in round 1, or a nasty surprise for round 2 or round 3. Then Covenant of Steel we will likely use in the melee road to protect Dagur. Then Roach is another card that normally would just have 3 power, and that wouldn't be a huge deal. But 9 power getting summoned from our deck is huge. So this is another one of our keys to success, likely in round 1. Alzur's Double Cross will either give us Wild Boar of the Sea or Dagur, or if we have Wild Boar of the Sea in our hand, then Dagur, and if we already have them in our hand, then it'll give us Geralt, so it's definitely going to give us one of our key cards. Then Knickers, much like Roach, is also going to get summoned and also be much bigger than usual, which again means that'll help us a lot, probably, in round 1. Herkja is another great consistent source of damage. And then we start getting down to the smaller units that will be good for pinging our opponents. But the Bear Witcher Mentor is a really strong finisher because our opponent is going to have a lot of damage units. So besides Dagur, this will likely be our biggest unit. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, it is very damage-oriented. One thing worth noting is that assuming that we're saving our Dagur plus Wild Boar of the Sea combo for round 3, it means we don't have that many big units in round 1. And that's why I think Roach, Knickers, and potentially Sunset Wanderers are going to be your keys to success there, because otherwise you're going to be relying pretty heavily on bronze units. But without further ado, let's go see it in action. Alright, so going against Skellige here. And they'll go first. Alright, and so we definitely don't want Knickers in our hand. Alright, and this is a ton of damage. I suppose, what did you expect with a deck like this? But maybe we try swapping out Red Haze. Alright, they're going to start with a Raging Bear, which normally would be bigger than just 5 points. Let's go with an Craite Longship. Set up some early damage. Alright, now Coral. Okay, it does look like they're going with discard in that case. And in doing so, our Longship has taken a couple of hits, and Coral will continue to deal damage whenever they do discard a card, and assuming they are planning on doing more of that, I'd say this is probably a pretty good time to use Red Haze, to use the conveniently placed Roach that just got summoned out of their deck, to take out Coral. Are now Blue Boy, and their leader ability allows them to deal damage to him. Well, then again, our Longship will also do it and take our Longship out in the process. So why don't we go with our other Longship in that case? So it'd either be this, or it'd be Herkja, except this will only damage new units that they play, whereas Herkja will damage random units that they already have on the board, and we'd rather not hit Blue Boy anymore. Alright, but they're just going to use their leader ability, damage him, and take out the Longship. Now, Berta for some more discard. Of course, getting rid of Coral means they're going to deal damage when they do this, but then again, they've already taken out all of our units, so not that it matters in this case. That means we don't have anything that would take damage, in which case, things aren't looking great here in round 1, so I'd say let's just get rid of some of our bronze units here, Lippy on Craite Marauder. Now I was going to say, if it hits Blue Boy, then so be it. I was also going to say it'd be kind of nice if Knickers and Roach did not come out in round 1, and we could save them for round 2 or round 3. Knickers is random, of course, but Roach will only come out when we play a gold card. But this is starting to look like Lippy. What with that Ceres there? So now let's go with the Iron Falcon Knife Juggler, and this might even be the last card that we play in this round, because obviously we have a pretty huge deficit here, and I'd like to save some of our big cards, like the Sunset Wanderers, for round 2 or round 3. Ooh, okay, well, that is very unfortunate timing for them passing. Was really hoping they were going to play one more card. So then that begs the question, can we pass them with one more card? And the answer is, actually, I think we can. So hold on, if we break out Geralt, and get rid of Ceres, that will, of course, get out Roach as well. And that's already practically enough, but we're also going to get Sunset Wanderers out here. That will definitely do the trick. So how's that for a comeback? What was that, a 40 or maybe even 50 point swing? Either way, does mean we can take the round 1 win here. Okay, and we played one more card than our opponents. That means we'll definitely look to dry pass here in round 2. So if we're thinking long term, we'd like to get our Dagger combo going. So Alzur's Cross can give us Wild Boar of the Sea, but that means we still need a way to get Dagger. So let's swap you out. Junod's not bad, then maybe we can get rid of one of the Bear Witcher Mentors. Okay, and that Juggler is definitely worse than Bear Witcher Mentor. But I think we're dry passing here, because again, we played one more card than our opponent. And I was thinking their deck started to look a lot like a Lippy deck. Well, with all this discard, and Ceres, I think, is always a telltale sign of, now they get Knickers out. They didn't get him at all in round 1, wow. Alright, so still looking for Dagger here. So damage is not a bad thing, but I think, obviously, Dagger is top priority, or Wild Boar of the Sea, and then we'll get Dagger with Alzur's Double Cross. So let's dump you. And, well, that's not really much better. In that case, I guess we'll dump the Knife Juggler. And no Dagger to be seen, unfortunately. And there is Lippy, as we expected. And, I mean, it's pretty strong in this event. Lippy is, of course, now suddenly an 11, which is pretty huge, and many of those cards that would just get summoned out of your deck and give you 3-4 points are now suddenly also worth a lot as well. So let's start with Herkja. Then with Oneiromancy, you'll get Ceres back. Yeah, like I said, that was the telltale sign that they were going to go Lippy. And I mean, having a lot of units out there is not bad for when we play Wild Boar of the Sea, but without Dagger, we are losing one of the key components of that combo. So normally I would say we'd play Defender and get Dagger out there as quickly as possible to get boosted from all this damage, but without Dagger, let's go straight to the damage with Yennefer Conjuror, because they have a couple of units here that are tied for the highest amount. And now that they're damaged, we could even theoretically use Junod on our next turn to destroy one of them altogether. Oh, Heat Wave. Wow. Aggressive. But not a bad choice on Yen. Of course, I suppose we could have put the defender out there to protect Yen, but that didn't really seem necessary. In fact, why don't we put the defender down now to protect, yes, Herkja, but also some of our other big units like Wild Boar the Sea will eventually go down there, and even though it's mostly just there for the deployability in this event because it's an 11 power unit, if they have any form of outright removal, they might want to use it on Wild Boar the Sea. Alright, Snowdrop. Also, more powerful than usual, significantly more powerful than usual. And this Drummond Warmonger is actually quite solid, given how many units they have in this melee row. And it looks like we have just enough Bloodthirst for this to trigger, so we will want to do that eventually. But this is just a one-time deployability, so I think we'd rather prioritize getting an engine down there earlier, like either the Corsair or the Warcrier. So let's go with the Corsair here. And let's dish out a little bit more bleed. Alright, then Delirium will deal some damage to us, even past that defender. But it's not enough to remove anything. And I am actually a little reluctant to remove Ceres, despite her being a big damage unit that we could get rid of with a Junod. Because if they have a dagger of their own, then of course he's melee row locked, and with their melee row full, that means they can't play him where they want to play him. Let's hide the Craite Warcrier behind this defender as well. Alright, then Gutting Slash is not quite enough to get rid of our defender. And in fact, when our defender is on 6 power or less, we'll start getting some armor on it. But if they want to get rid of him on their next turn, they probably will be able to. Now let's go with the Craite Marauder, which does also need to be in the melee row. So we are row stacking a bit here. We don't have much of an option, I'm afraid. And I completely forgot about the Corsair. I completely forgot about the Corsair, didn't I? Okay, Scald for more discard. But I think they've already discarded all of their discard synergy cards. Alright, now Warmonger, and this one doesn't need to be in the melee row, so let's deliberately not put it in the melee row. But we are definitely hitting their melee row, because look at all that damage. And for this Corsair, let's try to get as many damage units as possible, because what we're looking to do is set up this Bear Witcher Mentor for as big a boost as possible. Alright, then Warkvarg, well, congratulations. So I think it's Bear Witcher Mentor time, but before we do that, let's use our leader ability here to get just a few more damage units out there, then play the Bear Witcher Mentor. And I probably should have put that behind the defender, but I'm trying to split a little bit between having a boosted unit here and a boosted unit there. Alright, more of the Heymaey Skull. Alright, so now it's either Junod to get rid of Ceres or Lippy, or it's Wild Boar the Sea. But actually, if we go with the Corsair on Warkvarg, we can damage him even though he has armor right now. And then we can go Wild Boar the Sea and finish by maybe getting rid of Warkvarg on our last turn with Junod. So let's do that. That is, of course, a nice big damage finisher there. Alright, it's Blue Boy in their last spot, but they don't have any way of damaging him, so, in fact, we've already beaten them, but we can throw in a little more damage, preferably, not on Blue Boy, though, except they'll forfeit there. Of course, we could have destroyed another card with Junod, but either way, we will take the win. No dagger necessary. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. And let's get rid of Roach and Knickers. We never want them in our hand. Then maybe get rid of the Knife Juggler as well. Let's start with the Longship. Set up some early damage. And they're going to go with the Impera Enforcers. So they'll get some damage. Now that they have a damage unit out there, let's go with the Warcrier to get some boosts happening as early as possible. Now they're going to use Duchess's Informant? Okay, guys, never use spies in this event. As you can see, Duchess's Informant is 5 points, so they're just handing us points in this case. Let's go with the Craite Marauder, because if they're going to give us powerful spies, then I don't think we need anything too big here. We'll get Knickers as well. Now they're going to go with Coup de Grace. Okay, now this is slightly better, because this new Duchess's Informant is not from their starting deck, so it's only 1 power, rather than 5. Now let's go with the Heymaey Herbalist. And we can heal and boost that Duchess's Informant to make it a big 8-power unit. And they're just going to pass. So that means we'll take an easy round 1 win here. And now I like that we got Wild Boar the Sea, Dagger, and even Alzur's Double Cross. That sets up our big combo. Let's get rid of the Marauder. Junod is definitely an upgrade, and this is probably good enough. But we did play 1 more card than our opponent in round 1, so we might be looking to just throw something away here, and I don't think we need 2 Bear Witcher Mentors, so let's get rid of 1 of them, and we might pass on our next turn. They're going to go with the Thirsty Dame. And yeah, I think we just end it here and save our big cards for round 3. They'll go with a second Thirsty Dame. So that means they'll take the round 2 win. But by keeping that round short, we held on to Sunset Wanderers, and we got the Corsair and the Berserker. Let's get rid of the Berserker. Herkja would be ideal, and Marauder's worse than the Berserker. Red Haze, higher risk, higher reward, but maybe preferable, but still not ideal. But oh, Roach is not what we want. Greed got the better of me. Okay, now this is the perfect example of why not to play spies. They just gave us a 10-point unit with Hoeki. Even with their boost, they barely came out ahead. But let's play our defender here to see if we can prevent them from using Coup de Grace. But that Cupbearer is going to purify our defender, so we may see Coup de Grace anyway. Now let's go with the Corsair to get some damage started. And that brings out Sunset Wanderers as well, and at this point it's 23 points. A fur card. So play another special card, and yeah, it's Coup de Grace, not so surprisingly. And again, this second Hoeki is 4 power, so not nearly as bad as the original one they played from their starting deck. It's back to its usual effectiveness. Alright, now let's go with Yennefer to get some more damage. They're going to go with Bribery. Again, bad card in this event because whatever unit they play is not from their starting deck, so it's not going to get as high power. So they lose 1 power on that Longship, that means, because it would have had 5 power if it was from their starting deck. Now that we have some damage out there, let's play Dagger because we can immediately get him boosted. Let's use the Corsair to get some more damage. Use our leader ability to get some more damage. And use Yennefer to get some more damage. Alright, they're going to go with Brothans. Get another Duchess's Informants. And in this case, they'll get a Corsair out of it. Okay, and I think we wait to do any of our big removal, just to see if they have other big units. In which case, why don't we go with Roach? I mean, at least she's 9 power. So it's not horrendously awful to play her out of our hand, though of course we would have preferred to keep her in our deck. The Imperial Diplomacy. And they'll get some armor out of Boat Builders, which is a little unfortunate. That'll make it a little bit harder for us to deal damage. Okay, now let's go with Red Haze. Take out Furcart. And apply some more damage as well. Maybe we can get rid of that Longship. Alright, now they're going with Terra Nova. He's very strong in this event. Lots of base power, and they get Yennefer, which will give them some more damage. Then their leader ability, in this case, they're going for Wild Boar the Sea. It's actually not a terrible thing that they're using that against us. So although it does apply a lot of damage, it does technically make our Bear Witcher Mentor stronger. Now let's go with Alzur's Double Cross. Get Geralt out here and remove, I suppose, Terra Nova looks like their biggest unit. Then they'll have another Duchess's Informants. Create another Corsair. And you could make a case for playing any of these cards here, but they don't have any big damage cards, so I don't like Junod, and Wild Boar the Sea actually sets up Bear Witcher Mentor, so let's go with Wild Boar the Sea. And then I forgot the Corsair and Yennefer, but we should still have enough damage and enough points. They'll go with their Defender, but not sure what they're trying to defend at this point. If they'd done it earlier, I might have said maybe Kahir. Let's apply the bleed to him, and then on our next turn we can use Junod to take it out. In the meantime, we'll play the Bear Witcher Mentor to get a big boost out of him. Okay, and their last card is Vilgefortz, so they'll use him to destroy, not so surprisingly, Dagur. But then they'll forfeit, because even with that, before we play our last card, they still hadn't caught up to us. So there's a look at a high damage Skellige deck for the new Power Shift seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.